Hi, it's Graham Healy here, and I'm just about to play a video from Sean Hannity in the US that explains what's happening with the recent Israelis taking out the nuclear capacity of Iran. Now, there's been various comments by various Australian politicians with all sorts of conclusions, none of which I feel is founded in anything. At the end of the day, as you listen to the commentary on this Fox report, which you can find, and I'll put the links in this broadcast, you'll find that basically if Iran, who's the centre of the seedbed of terrorists around the world, if the death cult or the regime in Iran has nuclear weapons, then they'll have no question about using that either on Israel, the US, or whatever. Their whole mandate is basically to take over the world, and I mean it's as ridiculous as that sounds. When you put the nuclear weapons in the hands of these sort of characters, you just empower them to do a lot of bad things. So Donald Trump gave Iran an opportunity for a deal, and he pre-warned them of this. And I've had a couple of politicians and associates ask me why Trump denied that he knew anything about it. Well, hardly are you going to put it on the regular news, what's going on behind the scenes with the Secret Service and what have you, the Mossad. They've been working on this for 4 years, so they infiltrate the territory and select targets. The thing is with the Israelis, they're so exact. I brought, on a basically a civilian point of view, I brought 2 of the Israeli commanders out to Australia. It was, originally in 2007, and look, I'm telling you, these guys think differently to the rest of the paparazzi, and they basically are in the world's hot spot. So, good on them for sorting out the possible nuclear proliferation, and therefore they reckon they're about 6 months off nuclear warheads. So that just can't happen, not for that part of the world or any part of the world actually. They put an intercontinental ballistics missile together with warheads on it, you've got big trouble. Their objective is just want to spread the Islamic death culture right across the world. Now, this is not talking about the people there. This is talking about, it's a bit like when you talk about China, you're not talking about the Chinese people, you're talking about the regime that controls China. And it's like when you're talking about Iran, you're not talking about the people. The people want to be liberated from this oppressive death cult, is the best way you could put it, where, it's just, well, just look up the history on Iran and you'll soon find out that, these people have been mercilessly suppressed by these ayatollahs. So, and again, it's not the weapons of mass destruction thingo. This is real, and I'm certain the other one with Bush was a little bit more politically orientated about oil. This one's not about oil. This is about nuclear weapon proliferation. It's a bit like when President Kennedy stopped the Russians with the missiles in Cuba. Same story. Think about in Australia where they're all putting up their elbow and them are putting up their flags about pro-Palestine and all the rest of it, and they're banning or putting sanctions on some of the Israeli ministers, political ministers, and yet if China, communist China, or for that matter, the Middle Eastern death cults started building a missile base in Papua New Guinea, we'll see how old Albo and the group would react there. But anyway, that's another story. I'll just switch this recording on and have a good listen to it, because it's very factual, and then I'll put another one after that. Okay, listen up.
smuggle in missiles, smuggle in and hide explosives and drones. They had them deep inside of Iran before this even got started. According to reports, Mossad agents began infiltrating Iran months and months ago, if not years ago. They managed to smuggle precision weapons into central Iran to target Tehran's defenses from within. One Israeli official telling Fox News, quote, the Mossad worked with a huge number of people, a mass of agents, all deep inside of Iran. And here with reaction, former Israeli special ops veteran Aaron Cohen, Fox News contributor Jason Chaffetz. Aaron, just like the pager attacks, just like they took out the top 6 guys in Hamas, and just like they took out Nasrallah and the leaders of Hezbollah, this is going to be studied for decades, if not a century to come.
Absolutely, Sean. This is a historical, what I call multi-domain operation. Israel completely destroyed Iran's nuclear program while simultaneously assassinating all of the IRGC's top generals. And Mossad was able to infiltrate Iran months before the strikes, smuggled in high-precision missile launchers, and pre-positioned them near key air defense batteries. And these systems were buried in open terrain, from what I understand, disguised and actively remotely controlled the moment that the aerial assault began. And the second phase, Israeli intelligence moved in civilian vehicles outfitted with covert launch systems, Sean, literally hiding missile platforms inside trucks. Those were staged across Iran and used to to destroy radar and SAM systems in real time from inside of the country. And then there was a drone base. Mossad built and staged a fully functional drone launch site near Tehran, close enough to strike the Asfajabad base, which houses SAM, or surface-to-air missiles, that were pointed directly at Israel, Sean. Explosive drones were launched overnight, and the site is now gone. This took years, highly skilled teams, a ton of coordination, and that level of access tells Iran one thing: your sensitive sites are already compromised, and Israel is not playing around, and we don't miss.
No, well said. Jason, let's get your take.
Yeah, it takes a lot of guts, a lot of bravery, and some necessity. The reality is, if they don't do this, if they decide not to make a decision to be proactive, that is a decision into itself. And the intelligence clearly shows that these people are on the verge of a nuclear weapon. They want death and destruction to the United States and to Israel. And this is where the intelligence services, like in the United States, we spend a lot of money on this. But those men and women who go there undercover for months on end, if not longer, put their lives at risk, that makes a difference. It saved countless lives. What they did, how they did it, God bless them, more power to them. And then once they're there and they're actually launching and doing this attack, they got to get out. What they've done, those stories, I hope we hear them over the course of time, but a lot of heroism that we will never hear about, but thank God they did it.
Yeah, well said. What about if they continue to target, Aaron, if they continue to target civilians the way they are, meaning the Iranians, to me, all bets are off. You know, that means that would give license to Israel to take out their refineries and any other target they want. Thoughts?
I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%, Sean. The oil refineries become fair play. Israel's eyeing them right now. I wouldn't be surprised if there's crosshairs and planning on the Ayatollah himself, the #1 king of the snake here, who needs to have his head chopped off. I can assure you that Israel's watching closely. But I think the big factor here, and I want to say this to the Iranian people, Sean, Imardomi Iran, Vachti Kiyam Ost, Ma bashoma hastim. To the people of Iran, it's time to rise up. Israel is here with you.
Well said. All right, Aaron Cohen and Jason Chaffetz, thank you.
Okay, so that summarises it pretty well, and I'll just bring over Pastor Hagee from the USA, who I've followed, for many years. He really knows what's going on as well. So this is his take on it from a Christian point of view. We'll just bring that over. And this is Pastor John Hagee. You can trust what he says from the US 100%, so here he goes.
Midnight hours on Thursday, the skies over Tehran and other Iranian nuclear and military sites were ablaze with the sound and fury of the Israeli Air Force. As of this writing, Israel has eliminated a substantial portion of Iran's military and nuclear leadership and has dealt extensive blows to the regime's nuclear and missile programs. But the work is not done. Israel took this step because they had no other choice. Iran had acquired enough uranium to make multiple nuclear weapons and was in the process of trying to do so. What Israel is doing, just as when Israel destroyed the Iraqi and Syrian nuclear reactors, was to protect not just the Jewish state, but the entire free world. And we have a job to do as well. We must honor our faith, principles, and the legacy of standing up to evil and in support of freedom. We must not be influenced by the cowards, the isolationists, or the bigots in our midst. We must stand with Israel today and every day. Iran's future as an evil force in the Middle East is now in question. Only the people of Iran can take the country back. But Israel has opened the door for them and has given the world room to breathe. Now the United States must take its seat at the head of the international table and stand alongside the only American ally in the free world willing to do what is necessary to protect the free world. Please join me in thanking President Trump for standing with the Jewish state and urging him to continue his steadfast support for Jerusalem during this pivotal moment in history. In the late 90s.
Okay, so that's Pastor John Hagee, who I've followed for years. He's a great man of God. He's got a really grounded ministry, and he knows what's going on. He's a bit like, I find he's very much like the modern day Billy Graham of the US, and so he's very close to the president, and he's very patriotic, and he knows what's going on. He's got connections everywhere, Pastor John Hagee. So what he said is the truth, and what a lot of people I see online, they're drawing all sorts of conclusions, but the reality is, just like Pastor Hagee said, that Israel, really without Israel in the Middle East, we would have havoc all over the Western world. We've got a fair bit of problems that it is now, but you'd have these terrorist regimes expanding their borders like you wouldn't believe, and if they had nuclear weapons, and unfortunately you had Sleepy Joe and all his crew giving billions of dollars to the Iranian Ayatollahs, and they just put that straight into weaponry. So the Iranian people don't want them there. The Iranian people apparently, I'm not a great historian of Iran, however, I do know there was a fairly free society before the Ayatollahs took over and suppressed everyone and put everyone in burqas and demanded Sharia law on everyone. So, I'm not an expert on the Middle East, but I do have associates who have lived in the Middle East. I have associates who actually understand these death cults and cultures and all this sort of stuff. And believe you me, you do not want these characters expanding, a bit like the Hitler regime. You don't want them expanding in the world today, and giving them nuclear weapons is just a big no. So God bless America and Donald Trump, and God bless Israel. And those Christians out there who aren't backing, or people claiming to be Christians and are not backing Israel, I suggest that you reread your Bible, because very clearly the scriptures say, and this is God talking, by the way, not Jesus, but there is a triune, of course, but the scriptures say very clearly, and that those who bless Israel will be blessed, those who curse Israel will be cursed. And at the moment in Australia, we have a government who is cursing Israel. I'll leave it at that. My prediction is Albo et al. And Penny Wong, or Penny Pong as some people call her, they're standing against Israel, and I'm telling you, their political life is cursed and will be very short. They're not going to last 3 years, guarantee it. Okay, that's the Healy report, and I'll put the links to these great ministries and Sean Hannity's great report in the with Fox News, and I'll put those links there, and I recommend that you link up to these ministries and also Fox News, which especially Sean Hannity. He's a great guy. Okay, Graham Healy over and out. God bless you.